Ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting shortly. We're just giving a few more minutes for people to join this session. We don't want anyone to miss out on the exciting announcements, so we will start shortly. Just give us 2-3 more minutes. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, students. I know now parents have joined because we are all at home. Good evening, parents of the students and all the delegates. I would like to welcome you to the last session of our conference. And this session, traditionally, it's the session that we allocate to our students. It's a session that we allocate to our researchers, where we recognize excellence in terms of the research that is being done using the cyber infrastructure, and also recognizing the talent that we have in this country. So it is a very special occasion, and hence with the phrase, saving the best for last, this is the best of our conference. So I would like to just give you a teaser of what will be happening. We will be having the awards for the researchers, and we will having the awards for the cybersecurity challenge, and also the awards for the student cluster challenge. In an on-site event, we first have got a keynote that just finished about 15 minutes ago. And on that keynote, that covers what is happening in high performance computing. And Professor Sterling just finished giving us that keynote and also giving us the predictions of what should we expect in future. And when we talk about the future, a lot of it is what will be happening today. Now, at this hour, we will be seeing the future. So I am really quite excited to welcome all the students who took part in this competition. And this year, because of the unique environment that we've been operating in, the competition took place in a virtual environment. Our students first got through the selection rounds in a virtual environment, and they are used to that. I am going to leave to the organizers of this competition to tell you exactly what the students had to go through, but I thought I should just indicate that recognizing the challenges that we are facing, we had to be innovative to make sure that at least this year the competition still take place. And the organizers will outline that. So I would like to welcome the organizers. I would also want to welcome the judges who took all the efforts to make sure that they can look at the micro talks, they can look at the designs of the clusters, the challenges of the cybersecurity, and give us exactly how the students performed. So it's a lot of effort, and we know it took over a period of time. And this normally in an on-site event, it takes place in about 3 days, but now it was taken over a period of time, which is more than 2 weeks. So the students have been very busy. And I would also like to really highlight that the competition took place in a very unique environment. Because of the changes in the academic calendar, the students had to go through this competition whilst they are writing final exams. So they had to juggle between the exam and this competition. So whatever that was put here, you should know that sleep was not in the equation for the students. So after this, I guess, the beds will be really waiting for them. They have been putting a lot of effort on this, and I don't want to be standing in front of their awards. But first, before their award, it is very important that the stakeholder who make sure that we have got this infrastructure in South Africa and we can be able to meet like this, which is the Department of Science and Innovation, represented here by Dr. Daniel Adams, Chief Director and Acting DDG in Research and Infrastructure. Competition, the country is looking for, what the country is expecting from all the students. So I would like to call to the stage Dr. Daniel Adams to address Dr. Adams.
Hi, I lost Dr. Sithole. Can't hear him.
Yeah, Dr. Adams.
Yeah, I lost you for a while there, Dr. Sithole. Okay. Am I on the air?
Yes, you are on the air, Dr. Adams. Over to you now.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all our attendees at the awards and closing session of this 14th National CHPC Conference. Again, also thank you, Dr. Sithole, Program Director, also for the kind words and also recognizing the importance of the Department of Science and Innovation. Allow me to firstly acknowledge the presence of, again, all the invited guests from various countries to this conference, our researchers from around the country, the industrial users of the CHPC and NICI's platform in general. Then, as Dr. Sithole already indicated, the judges, very important people or attendees at the session now who have done all the hard work behind the scenes. Then I'm always excited to welcome our students to this part of the conference, took part in the competitions and the talks. And what we're more excited today is the fact that we also have the parents in attendance. I think that's one of the good things that the virtual world brought upon us and this new normal that we're operating in. I also would like to acknowledge with great appreciation the main conference and award sponsors, namely the diamond sponsor Intel, the platinum sponsor Huawei, the gold sponsors AMD and Nvidia, and the silver sponsor Altier. As I've said in the opening address on Monday, research infrastructures remain central to the so-called knowledge triangle of education, research, and innovation, which again is embedded in and integrated in a broader research infrastructure ecosystem. involving industry, universities, and society. And you will immediately recognize that's exactly the context of this evening's session, which bring all these three components together. The implementation of the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure, or NICIS, to date provided an excellent platform for the triple helix arrangement, where government, through the Department of Science and Innovation, initiated and funded projects are rolled out in the universities. The flagship projects are driven by the academia or by the researchers at universities, and industry taking or making use of this excellent platform for solving their key problems sometimes that they're facing. NICIS took a principled decision right at the inception to make 30% of its resources available to industry-related projects, and this has been proven to be very successful throughout the years of the CHPC in existence. The industry partnership with NICIS and all the components of it is well reflected through the student competitions over the past few years. And the value add for the Department of Science Innovation is that it is an investment in the future, an investment in our youth, and an investment in particular in human capital development in the country. Therefore, the country remains, or I'd like to say actually that the country remains being plagued by the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. And hence these challenges remains a priority and a priority areas for government to invest in and through projects like the NICIS. Also, as I've emphasized on Monday, that the NICIS not only distinguished itself as the national or the tier 1 platform for infrastructure provision, but also significantly contribute to the skills development, human capital development, of which the student competition remains the flagship events at this annual conference. And I am of the opinion that despite the new challenges that was introduced by the COVID-19 pandemic this year's teams have been prepared to the same extent, depth, and readiness as the previous groups to deliver excellent and winning results, to which we're looking forward to tonight. The awards function, as Dr. Sithole already highlighted tonight, have three categories, namely the CHPC student micro talks, prizes and component for masters and PhD students, which has been replaced by the former student poster competition with pre-recorded micro talks. And because of the fact that we can't meet physically, and therefore this innovative way of maintaining this part of the competition through micro talks instead of poster competitions. Secondly is the Sunrain Cyber Security Challenge team winners that will be announced tonight. Then lastly and thirdly, the CHPC student cluster competition national winning teams. The scope of the competitions, other than just the classical CHPC cluster building competition, demonstrate the expansion of the NICIS competitions profile to include all the components of the platform, namely the Sunrain, as well as the DERISA, which is responsible for the data portfolio of NICIS. And all these competitions, are addressing very significant and relevant and pertinent topics and challenges that being faced by our country and even globally. So allow me to once again also, and given the fact that the parents are in the, or some of the parents again are in the audience, to congratulate the Team SA CHPC team, who has was placed second in the International Supercomputing 2020 competition in June of this year. This team was made up of 6 undergraduate students from Wits University, University of the Western Cape, and the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you very much again, students, for once again flying the South African flag really high at this competition. The DSI is truly appreciative of our industry partners for their continued support of these competitions in terms of training and preparing our students and providing prizes and incentives to our students. We recognize that without these partnerships and sponsorships from our industry partners, the competitions will not have the same impact. The DSI's ongoing question, however, questions remain, and I'm keep on asking this to Dr. Sithole and his team. Questions like, what happens to these bright minds after the competitions? How do we keep on nurturing and mentor them in pursuing their careers? How do we ensure they remain within the sector of scarce skills? How do we tap these bright minds for coming up with new innovations within the area of cyber infrastructure and ICT in general? And maybe tonight I want to be bold by putting out the challenge to our industry partners to solicit their support and even partnership with the DSI in setting up an open lab or future thinkers initiative, where the winning teams or selected individuals from these teams could be given the space and an enabling environment to innovate and find solutions for pressing challenges locally as well as globally. So maybe put out that challenge tonight here and see what the response will be. Students, we really applaud you for your dedication and hard work during the preparation phase and the enthusiasm that you have displayed during the competitions. And again, as emphasized and underscored by Dr. Sithole in his opening remarks. Thanks to the CHPC and the NICI's staff in general, and the mentors during the preparations of the students for these competitions, as well as the adjudicators entrusted with this daunting task and difficult task of adjudicating the students' work. And I hope that you will have reached the conclusion that you really want to have arrived at in judging these competitions and announcing the winners tonight. So in conclusion, then, congratulations to all the winners of the competitions, individual as well as the team categories, but also congratulations to those even tonight who will be positioned outside the winning circle. My encouragement to you is to try harder for next time, but I think also that you consider yourself as winners in your own right. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner in each of these categories. So with that, I would like to say, again, congratulations to the students, to the parents for the encouragement, for the staff of the NICIs, for the support and mentorship, for the sponsors that really made all this possible, and may this be a wonderful evening for everybody and for every one of you present tonight. Thank you very much again for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adams. Thank you very much, Dr. Adams, for those words and also for the challenges that you throw to us. I am hoping that our industry colleagues who are in here, who are the sponsors of these competitions, they have heard the words very well. And I am looking forward for their offers on how do we take this challenge together. And I would also like just to emphasize on what Dr. Adams has indicated. We really value these competitions. It's not really a competition, but actually to incentivize our users and the students to be innovative, to come up with new ideas, and let us look at it in that way. And for all of you to get to where we are, especially under these circumstances, you should consider yourself a winner because you pulled through to get to this point. But obviously, I don't envy the role of the judges. You had a very difficult time. And I think for those of you who watch on television, you know what could happen to the judges we can come and really, if we are not happy on how you conducted yourself, we can come and challenge you. So I hope that judges, you don't get that. We know that you work very hard. So being a judge is not easy. It's even more difficult than to be in the competition itself. So with that, the first category of the competition is on the micro talks. The micro talks are the talks that are given by the students in PhD or master's level. And these students are the students who use cyber infrastructure. And the judges looked at these talks where the students provided the talks, and from there, they selected the winners. So I am going to invite, and I think this is a recorded video by the judges who are led by Dr. Mwekezi to come on stage and present the competition and the winners. Over to you, Dr. Mwekezi and the team.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the program director introduced me, I'll be announcing the winners of the Student Micro Talk competitions of this conference. To give you some background about the competitions, we actually going to award students in two categories. That is the Masters and the PhD. On each category, we'll be awarding from the first to the third places. We'll actually start with the, like for instance, the Masters here will be starting with the third prize winner for Masters. And the second one is the first time this year we introduced the second prize because of the generous sponsorship that we managed to secure. And we'll move to the second prize and then the first prize. Thereafter, we'll do likewise with the PhDs. And all winners will also receive the certificates from National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure System and Managing Director as well. Here is our sponsors, for industry. We have Gaussian on the left-hand side, and Johnson Matthews, Finsoft, and Altair. These are our four sponsors for Student Micro Talks prizes for this year. So to be able to judge, we invited several academics, senior academics from universities in South Africa and some of research institutions, but we managed to commit with the following. So it was myself, Daniel Moketi, I was the convener and the chairperson of the panel. And then I also had my colleague, Dr. Andrew Gill, who was kind of an observer when we were making the final decision, but also assisted a lot with preparations for the Microsoft, for students to upload their talks on the conference website, and also for selections of students. He did a lot of background work in this regard. The members of the panel are, as I mentioned, are senior academics, Prof. Daniel Hubert from University of Witwatersrand, Professor Penny Covenda from University of Johannesburg, Prof. Hassani Chauke, University of Limpopo, Professor Quinn Reynolds, who's based at Mintech, but is also associated with University of Stellenbosch, Prof. Kevin Lob, Rhodes University, and Dr. Stephanie Landman from South African Weather Service. This was a very strong panel and diverse in terms of what was presented in the micro talks. The criteria we used to The judges had to allocate marks for the following key factors: the quality of prerogative presentation itself, they allocate 2 marks for it; the high performance computing content of the presentation and the quality of research, which we allocated 3 marks; the ability of a student to communicate science content, which we allocated 3 marks; and the length of the prerogative presentation should be less than 6 minutes. We give you 2 marks when it's less than 6 minutes, but if they exceed 6 months, the panel had to be very strict in terms of penalizing the students. So we separated 2 marks. The point I want to make is that even for future, it is important for students to adhere to presentation preparation guide that was placed on the conference website. Highlights of activity: if you look back in 2019 conference, we actually had student poster presentations, of which there were over 50 posters. You can see from the picture here on the left and right, so this was actually a physical event where the judges were actually engaging with students, asking the questions directly. But this year, because of the reasons that everybody know, we had no choice but to make a wise decision to host a virtual conference where we change posters into micro talks where students can actually submit less than 5 to 6 minutes pre-recorded talks. There were over 40 pre-recorded talks that were submitted. If you want to, again, maybe you're not aware so far, you can visit this link. They are live, they are online, so we can listen and enjoy the science. And if you look at this, some of the talks actually speaks directly to the theme of this conference, especially related to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on. There are also significant contributions for usage of high performance computing, especially the use of Lingao cluster in South Africa. So now I'm about to announce the winners. As I mentioned, I will start with the master's category. The first winner is Cohen Lang from Stellenbosch University. He wins a cash prize of 2,000, sponsored by Altair. And another third winner is Daniel Hubert from University of Pretoria. Wins a cash prize of 2,000, sponsored by Altair. Now I'm moving to the second winner, which is Lilu Rademeyer from University of Pretoria as well. Wins the cash prize of 3,000 rand, sponsored by Altair. Now I'll go to the overall winner of the master's category, which is Yates Thrao Rigo from University of Cape Town. He wins cash prize of 5,000 rand, sponsored by Johnson Matthew. I should mention that this student also won on the master's category last year, where he was on the second places. I will now move to the PhD category. I will announce the first place. As I mentioned, we have 2 places as well, the same as masters last year. So the third place winner is Kyle Melholz from University of Northwest. He wins a cash prize of 4,000 rand, sponsored by Altair. I'll announce the second winner, which is on the third prize as well, Kathleen Cutler from University of Stellenbosch. He win cash prize of 4,000, sponsored by Altair. Now I'll move to the second winners of the PhD category. The name is Zakina Hussein from University of the Witwatersrand. Wins cash prize of 5,000, sponsored by Queen Finsoft. Now I'll move to the overall winner of the PhD category, which is nobody else, Arinaj Maharaj from University of KwaZulu-Natal, wins a prize of 7,000 rand, sponsored by Gaussian. Now, in conclusion, I would like to ask all the delegates to give a big hands to the presenters of this year student micro talks. And in final, I will say that all the winners will be contacted by CHPC regarding payment of their prizes, and will also receive their certificates. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mweketi. And I would like, on behalf of the audience, on behalf of the parents, because your mics are mute at this stage, a big round of applause from all of us. To the winners, to all the students who took part in this competition, but also, more importantly, to the judges who went through all the material which was presented to them and bring to us the final winners. But also I would like to indicate, as I said, with the sponsors, I'd like to just highlight a little bit about the sponsors. You have seen, we have got Johnson Matthew, who are one of the people who are interested in the products of high performance computing to ensure that they can be able to modernize their product, they can be able to innovate using high performance computing. So this also drives us to come to that point of bringing to the industry what they would require. And your interest in this competition and supporting excellence will go a long way for your products and also for our country in developing talent. I think the other colleagues also, Gaussian, who develop the applications, and together with QFinsoft, they develop applications that run on the supercomputers. So it is always important to look at those parts to ensure that these tools are used efficiently. And at the same time, Altair falls into that category because they also develop tools that run on the HPC systems, but also at the same time, Altair also make sure that they have got the orchestration and the resource management of the HPC system. So all of them, their support, you can see that it is very integral into the development of HPC technology, but also in the utilization of the HPC. So thank you very much, Dr. Mweketi, and the panel of judges and all the sponsors. So we are going now to move gear from the users of cyber infrastructure, and we get to one category now. Whenever we use our cyber infrastructure, and this has been one of the challenges, especially now when we looked at during the pandemic, because there has been an unusual way of using cyber infrastructure. For an example, most of us now have to pool the resources that we normally use them under ring-fenced environments in our working area, and also where there is maximum security about how we work. And we started opening ourselves to the world because we went into our networks in our homes that don't have a full-time manager who is looking at how secure is our networks. And we pulled information that is normally secured in our office environment or our laboratories. We pulled it home. So basically the issue of security in how we use cyber infrastructure can't be overemphasized. And we have seen that during this time also, because people were working under abnormal circumstances, we started seeing different ways of how people now became vulnerable and how people started now going into our infrastructure. So this competition that Dr. Renier van Heerden will be talking about together with the colleague AJ McCann, it is very important and it's even more important during this time. So I would like to call to stage Dr. Renier van Heerden to come and present the cybersecurity challenge. And I think, Renier, this is on its 4th year, right? 3 years
yes,
contract, and this is the first virtual
This is our first virtual one, 4th year, and it was very successful. We had over 400 students. So
Renier. Over to you, Renier.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the award ceremony for the Cybersecurity Challenge. So thank you very much for the introduction, Dr. Sithole. This was a very challenging year because of not only hosting it virtually, but actually getting the students to compete. Because usually we try to look for holidays or breaks, but since all the universities' schedules were mixed, it was quite a struggle. But still, we had so many students and it was very successful. So we're really looking forward to next year. So how did it look? We asked the students to send us some selfies of them and their setups. And here you can see a variety of students working during the competition that took place this week in Saturday and Sunday. You can see some of them with the setups, and we have some more pictures of the students with their setups competing for the Cybersecurity Challenge. Especially note here in the middle, we have the Namibian team that had to work from their computer labs, and of course the firewall gave us issues like usually. So every year we as organizers learn more. So I think these pictures were taken early in the competition because we all had smiley faces still at that time. And my thanks especially to the organizers that were willing to give up their weekend. Sorry, I got a message that we can't see the photos. I just want to verify with the organizer, does it look correctly?
Yes, please. I think share the slides. You haven't shared the slides, Renier.
I did share the slides. There might be some technical issue on my side. I'll try it again. Okay, let's try again.
Yeah, now it's coming up. We do see the background of your desktop. And finally, we see some slides. Now, back to your desktop. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see the slides now?
Now we see the slides.
Okay. As usually, technical issues that seem to be our curse. So let me go through again. Okay, there we have the students competing from home and from the different places in home. We asked them to take pictures and send it to us. And as you can see, quite a diverse setup and situation how the students looks like. Just hold on a second. There you can see some more pictures, and as I say, in the middle we have the. Okay, sorry about this. It's like always the. Okay, now hopefully we're correct.
It's much better now. It's on full screen.
Okay.
Keep it that way.
Okay, that was my original setup. Okay, so the gremlins are always with cybersecurity. So there we see all the pictures of all the students. Okay, now we have a picture of the organizers. I would really like to thank Ivan Burke, Scott Peach, AJ McConney, Johan Higu for giving up their weekend and organizing the event. Even if it's virtual, we still need to be there for 2 full days to sort out small issues and help the students for whatever technical problems there is. So as Dr. Sithole said, this is our 4th year, and every year we are learning, every year we are getting better, and every year we are finding new bugs. Okay, so how did we communicate with the students? So we used this Discord system where we could chat to all the students at once, or just in groups, or within us, or within some of the other organizers. And the students took to the system, and after a while you could see that they were quite tired. So you can see they started posting memes as the day got on, and they started struggling with it, and so that's always a good sign when the students get tired, and that is a sign that they actually, let's say, it hurts, means hopefully that they enjoyed it and that they found it challenging. So these are some of the memes that they posted after the first day, which is quite funny because if we had it physically, they would have been for 2 days. But still, this was a very good sign. So I have a small video here to show the attack defend challenge that was on the 2nd day. This is actually where they had to defend their own server and attack a server that they basically, all the other groups' servers. So that was actually quite a challenging thing. Here you can see a scoreboard from the beginning where Team Tectonic has captured quite a few flags and some flags of defending their own flags. So basically they had to keep their own system up and running, and they were capable of attacking and disabling the other team's flags. So this is a very popular system and technically very difficult to implement. So I do thank you, F-Secure, for hosting this attack and defend challenge. So what did the first prize go for the social engineering challenge. Now, usually the social engineering challenge is quite an interesting one where we ask the students to try to get some secrets from the other students or from the organizers. We're using some devious method, but because we were all in different places and socially distancing, we decided to use the computer game called Among Us, where you have some students being crewmates and some being the imposter and swapping around and playing the Friday evening to get to know each other and to see who can be the best social engineer. So we had 2 winners. Drum roll. Okay, we'll wait for the number. The first winner was Andre van der Walt, University of KwaZulu-Natal. And the second winner is Willem Reed, University of Pretoria. And we have a special honorable mention for Professor Penter, who also joined the game. And he was playing excellently, and we were quite suspicious. And then we figured out that actually he asked his son to play in his stead. And then when it came to the communication, he just sat in and talked and said whatever his son told him. So honorable mention to Prof. Venter for the spirit of social engineering. So now we move to the prizes. So the first prize was for the Attack and Defend Challenge. This is sponsored by F-Secure, and the winner is the order of the bid. Okay. It's a mixed team from the University of Stellenbosch and the University of Cape Town. So next we move to the capture the flag. We have a third, second and first place. So the third place go to University of Pretoria Computer Engineering, Keegan Nell, Killian Massa, and Willie Reed. Next we go to second place. Second place went to Tectonic, University of Pretoria, the Computer Science Department. Nigel Mumpofu, Purpelandahiri Muija, Rudu Jansen van Rensburg, and Giovanni Hubert. And the mentor was Prof. Anfita. And finally, first prize goes to, hold it a minute, the order of the bid is a mixed team from the University of Stellenbosch, the University of Cape Town, Tian Sillier, Warren Hood, and Jean Duplessis. Yeah, I would like to thank our sponsors from F-Secure. On the left, we have Sean, and the right, we have Sean. And without their help, the attack defend would have not been a success. So we're really looking forward to next year. We was really worried how this year will go, but with the students and their enthusiastic support from the mentors and the students, it was a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ranir. Thank you very much. Also the judges, the mentors, and the students. I just have got a gripe with the judges. I thought I captured the flag, and I thought that the prize for capture the flag will come to me. So I've got a flag right on the background. I thought I captured the flag. So unfortunately didn't.
Okay.
I'll try next year.
You captured one flag. There were many flags.
I'll try next year. No, thank you very much. Thank you, F-Secure, for motivating the students to keep being innovative and looking at various ways of how to combat cybersecurity and ensure that we have got good teams that can be able to help us in this daunting task of securing of our cyber infrastructure assets. We are moving now to the next competition. And I think this competition, the Student Cluster Challenge, I will leave to the chairperson of this committee, Dr. Birali Runesha from University of Chicago, to come and introduce the panel and introduce the students. Professor Runesha, we know that you had to leave some of the work. It really shows how passionate you are about this work. And we really appreciate you joining us. So please, Dr. Runesha, if you can proceed with the introduction of the competition and the awards, and also for your team. Welcome on stage, and thank you for making the time.
Thank you, Dr. Happy Sitole, and good evening, everybody. And I'll say good morning from me from here, from Chicago. It's always a pleasure for me to join this cluster competition. It's always a highlight for me for this conference. And I would like to start by joining Dr. Adams and others in congratulating all the students. Even though we are going to announce some of the students this evening as a part of the ISC team, I would like to say that all the students should really feel that they are all winners. The effort you have exhibited and what you have achieved is quite outstanding, and it's something that is really would be even difficult to acknowledge. So the CHPC cluster competition this year, contrary to past years, moved to virtual and was basically really kind of focusing on working all remotely. 7 teams participated from various institutions, from Kulisa Academy, from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, the University of Western Cape, and the University of Witwatersrand. And we'll be announcing some of the places that where the judges selected. And most of them, one thing that I would like to acknowledge, the judges met with each team, and we were quite impressed that the majority of them, while they were very busy finishing finals, they were still able to manage to work under these circumstances and to be able to complete some of the work and to still continue to complete the competition. Some of them were as new as in their first year, and some of them second and third year. You could see really, despite the challenges of not being able to be together and even having to work in virtual environment, they really continued to strive in even the last days. And like we always say during this cluster competition, sleep is a luxury. But despite that, you could still also see the motivation in many of them. I would like, before I proceed though, to also acknowledge and recognize my colleagues of judges. And I've always enjoyed our discussions and vigorous analysis and dedication for each member of the judges group. And I would like to acknowledge Mark Lane, Martin Ilgeman, Dan Olds, Filippo Spiger, Dr. Happy Sitoli, for all their contribution, and many of them working up at various time zones to be able to provide their feedback. And more importantly, though, the CHPC team that support the judges, they do most of the work, because let's keep in mind, the competition is only this week, but it all started always since July. And they did an extremely and tremendous good job preparing material, moving it in a virtual environment. And I will say on behalf of the judges, we're really quite impressed by the work you did in putting together all that work for this to be as successful as if it was even done in person. I will even argue, actually, the material was so well, the good quality of the material you put together was even better than when I see some of the in-person competition. One thing also to acknowledge in what is a cluster competition in a virtual environment, we're quite fortunate this year that Dell was able to set up an HPC lab and some dedicated hardware that the student could log in. And basically the students were being tasked to run a number of 7 different benchmarks. They were also interviewed and had to give presentation. Some of those benchmarks included some of the micro benchmarks that really capture some of the performance of systems, but they also include some real life application. And I always like to emphasize this, because some of these applications like computational fluid dynamics, open form, they even had this year a new benchmark on BERT, which is a very popular natural language processing toolkit. And then have also some ocean modeling and some DFT calculation for atomic simulation environment, and then metagenomics. So you name it, these are real life code that in some of the major centers, you have team of people that really maintain them. So just imagine asking these students that are new to do work of that extent. I think for me, that has always been where I'm amazed when I see some of them completing and pushing themselves, learning and how to use those benchmark and applications and be able to complete them successful. That's something really for me has always been quite amazing. and that need to be commended. So without further ado, it's really my pleasure to really announce the winner. And I'm gonna let that first Nyameko to introduce the different teams, and then we're gonna proceed with the awards.
Thank you very much, Dr. Renesha. So the teams have been arranged in alphabetical order, depending on their team name. First up, finding the light in the darkness of compilation errors, we have F12 Bright from Kulisa Academy. Their team comprised of Kambaletu Mazwai, Zinhle Mbolega, Nka Gottlieb Mahoka, and Nelly Manyama. So following this is a team that likes to abuse their CPUs. Hailing from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, we have Overclocked. The team was led by Michael Paulinus and supported by Shelin Pillay, Mtobisi Kunene, and Nosipo Ndlovu. Now, we have our keyboard scribes from the University of the Western Cape, script writers. The team was led by Jaco Ferreira and supported by Rofiwa Matumba, Shanae Norman, and Zukisa Maliwa. Finally, potentially our future titans of industry and technology, we have Tech Titans hailing from the Kulisa Academy. The team was led by Matubazane Dubazane and supported by Njabolo Maduna, Bridget Matlakanya, and Patricia Selinda. Now, with an extremely unique name, hailing from the University of the Witwatersrand, we have Wits Team A. The team was led by Captain Faisal Salim and supported by Blake Denham, Roger de Mello-Cock, and Zara Hussein. Another original name, hailing again from the University of the Witwatersrand, we have Wits Team Alpha. This team was led by Byron Kruger and supported by Nvo Edward Ramashia, Sipesi Islem Tetwa, and Jacolia Ramden. Last and most definitely not least, the uniquely named team again, Wits Team 1. This team was led by Siobhan China and supported by Gulame Arbi, Mikhail Dindar, and Masahume Rapiri. Congratulations to all the team that participated.
Now we are, thank you. Now we are going to announce the third places, and we're gonna start with the third place, and the prize was provided by NVIDIA. And the third place goes to the University of Wits Team A. And this is all right. The University of Wits was Faisal, Blake, and Roger, and Zahara. And the second place, the prize was provided by Eclipse Holding. And the prize goes to the University of Wits, Team Alpha. And again, the team is Brian, Zulo, and Sifeseli and Jacobda. Apologize for the name's pronunciation. And the first place goes to, the prize was provided by Dell Technologies, and the first place goes to the University of Wits, Team 1. So this first team, composed by Shivan, Gulam, Mikaela, and Naseume, basically are automatically being qualified to be part of the ISC team. And the way we always organize this, the judge, they are always supposed to add 2 more people because their team is made of 6 people. And then in addition to that, we will add 2 reserves just in case something happened and somebody cannot attend. And then usually then one of the reserve will come in. So we are going to announce the teams that will constitute the ISC team, and then that will be basically representing CHPC this coming year in the ISC competition. And the reserve name are Brian Kruger, Faisal Salim, and the two additional people that will be part of the ISC team are Zara Hussein and Sifesile Mtetwa. So let's give a round of applause for our ISC team. And as I said again, even though we have a representation, this was been a tremendous effort, and all the students will feel like they're really all winners. We are looking forward to again to seeing another good success at IEC. Be no pressure. We just keep up the good trend. And I just want to end by also recognizing the effort of all the sponsors and for making this possible. Thank you again.
Thank you, Birali, and your team of judges. I had an opportunity to be part of the judges, and I saw what the students could do. And indeed, the winners are well-deserved. The work that they did was really quite impressive. I think when we looked at the presentation that was done by the winning team, you could see right from the beginning that this is a team on a mission. And I think last year's team, also that won, it came and announced right from the beginning, you could see the intention. And they were not taking any prisoners. Right from the beginning, they were telling the other team that just pack up and go because we are winners. And they really ended up being the winners. So I think the confidence in these teams is what is really impressive. One thing that I would have to try and investigate, because that team was from Wits, that one last year, and this team also was from Wits. I want to start drinking water from Bramfontein. I'm not far from there. So hopefully I will also be in this competition. There's something in the water that these kids are drinking there. So well done to all the teams. I think the other part that we should really emphasize on the Kulisa teams, these are the teams that are fresh from high school. Those kids that participate up there, they come directly from high school and they get straight into high performance computing under the Dell Academy. And I think that we have got a very bright future if they keep it up like that and keep working. These are the future that we should be looking at. And I think that looking at next year also, it is, has already been announced that ISC is going to be virtual. So this team that we have, they went through the selection round virtually. They went into the national competition virtually, and they are going to do the international competition virtually. So you are really carrying the flag. So come to me, I will give you this flag. I think just to give you another point here to consider is that the first virtual international competition took place in July this year. And the teams also, they had to use a system which was put in Singapore. And the South African team came out second. So you could see that's working with a system that they did not know, and they really did very well. I would like to also indicate that the challenges that were given on that competition was directed mainly to the areas of HPC application in solving COVID-19. So really they were solving challenges that we are facing today. So with those words, I'm just indicating to our team here that congratulations, you are the road headers in terms of a fully virtual team competing. But as the National Integrated Cyber Infrastructure, once the world comes and becomes normalized, we will be able to take you somewhere to see the world. As part of this competition is to expose our students to the world. They should be able to meet people in the world and compete with people in the world. So you will be taking this competition virtually, but we are taking this initiative to make sure that you will be able to go somewhere in the world and be able to go to either the HPC centers where you can pursue your dreams in high performance computing. With those words, I would like to end here and thank all the competition organizers for a job well done. David and the team on the Student Cluster Challenge, Ranir and AJ and the team for the Cybersecurity Challenge, Dr. Mweketi and his team, also for the micro talks and the applications team there. So thank you very much for all your efforts. All the judges, you did a sterling job. I think the people that have won, you can be able to see the work that they put in those efforts. But lastly, I would like to really applaud the Nikki's team that made sure that we can be able to have this conference and virtually like this, and we managed to survive the 3 days, and we are here. We are almost right at the end of the conference. I know that it was nerve-wracking, and we ultimately got through to this. I would like to thank you all for putting all these efforts. Werner leading the team of organizers. This has not been an easy task. Initially, we started off thinking that maybe this is going to be partially virtual, and then we will have some on-site, which obviously at the end we realized we will have to go on it like this. I think also with the sponsors, because it's the first time also we had virtual exhibitions, and our sponsors still came through. I thought no sponsor will see a value in sponsoring a virtual conference, and the sponsors came through. Thank you very much for making this to happen. And I would really like at the end to thank you, the participants. And you have went through, you made this conference to be what it is. And we are really looking forward for the world to come to normality, because the conference venue that we proposed, that was supposed to be our host for 2020, we will still hold on to that for 2021. As you know, the South African High Performance Computing Conference is a national meeting, and it goes around the country. So we still owe our citizens in Mpumalanga the conference. So the conference venue is still the same. We will still hold the conference there. And I have visited the venue, and it is growing. So for our participants here, please, immediately when we hear that the conference is open, it is going to be on site, make sure, because places are limited there in the venue where we are going. And so let us all cross fingers. Let us all behave so that we can be able to have the normal life. I think our leaders all over the world have always been telling us we are the ones who carry the solution to make sure that the world can come to normality by not giving this virus any legs to move from one place to another. So let's keep on that. And on that note, I would like to welcome on stage Dr. Werner Janse van Rensburg, who is the chair of the organizing committee, to come and give the vote of thanks, and that will be the closure of the conference. Werner, please welcome on stage.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sithole. Indeed, it's been my pleasure this year to lead the team that organizes the conference again. And like so many other things this year, this is a completely new experience. None of us has done this before. So I hope that everybody that attended or participated in some way in this conference did enjoy it and found it to benefit them. And also just the hosting was up to scratch. We had nothing to compare to, so this is new for us. And well, I would like to say, I hope we don't have to do it like this again next year, but certainly if we have to, we have much more experience now. So just allow me a few minutes to just thank a few individuals and specific stakeholders. So I want to start to thank the DSI for the participation and representation at this meeting. As the main funding entity of NICIS, we absolutely depend on the DSI. So Dr. Adams, thank you very much for engaging, being part of the conference right in the beginning, and also still being on the call tonight. We certainly appreciate the efforts DSI is putting into the success of NICIS and this conference very much. Thank you. I also would like to just thank again one last time our sponsors, our diamond sponsor, Intel, our platinum sponsor, Huawei, our gold sponsors, AMD and NVIDIA, and our silver sponsor, Altair. Without the sponsors, even for a virtual event, it will be very difficult for us to host it and to give it the quality that we would like it to have. So thank you very much for all those sponsors that came on board. Of course, I would like to thank all the speakers, but especially the keynote speakers, the invited speakers, and also specifically the vendor showdown facilitators. We had a very entertaining session on Monday night. So thank you very much for all that participated and contributed to that. A special thanks to the SADC representatives. We had a whole parallel session on Tuesday for SADC. Thank you very much to all the people that contributed to those discussions. I want to thank all the chairs of the various sessions. Many people also had to experience for the first time to chair virtual sessions, so there was some experience built on that side as well. But lastly, and most importantly, thanks to all the delegates that have participated in the conference, because if you don't participate, then there is absolutely no use of having the conference. So we saw good participation numbers throughout for all the sessions, and also for people that registered, it was good numbers. And we thank all of you that participated and contributed in this way. Allow me just to highlight and thank a few specific people for the conference support. Of course, we had an organizing team that involved a number of individuals within NICIS, which consists of CHPC, Sandra, and Anderiza, and all of them assisted in various ways to prepare and host this conference. So many individuals had designated duties, but also there was a core team involved in many planning meetings and arrangements and so on. So I in particular want to thank Knox Moyake, which is our CHPC communications manager. Thanks, Knox, for all the running around with sponsors and making sure that it is known, the conference, that the conference has been advertised, and all the many other things that you've done that nobody even knows about to ensure the success. And in that same breath, thanks Kevin Colville. He's my main person that I rely on to make sure that we have a decent program, and a program that is executed and planned very well. Thank you, Kevin, as main program coordinator. And I want to say much, much more. You always do things that I don't even know that ensures that the conference is successful. And this has been not different this year for the virtual event. Also, thank you, Andrew Gill, for doing many practical things that, as I said, that I'm not even always aware, and for the running around and responses. So thank you, Andrew. And then for the other members of the planning committee, Edward Rakate, Anwar Bahet, Leon Staphorst, Dora Tobie, Renier van Heerden, Stimbisum Kwanazi, Polani Nkosi, Daniel Moketi, AJ Makan, and others. Thank you very much for all your individual efforts to make the organizing of this event actually a pleasure and a success. I also want to just add on to what Happy said. Thank you to all the competition organizers, the various sponsors that makes the competitions possible. The poster competition, thanks Daniel Mweketsi, who worked closely with Andrew Gill to host the poster competition, which is called, of course, the Micro Talks this year. The Sunren Cybersecurity Competition, thanks Renier van Heerden and your Sunren team. It certainly looked like a great event, and it looked like the students really participated well and enjoyed it. And then, of course, lastly, on the CHPC Student Cluster Competition, David McLeod, Yameko Lisa, leading the team there, consisting of the ACE Lab and also other individuals from the CHPC to really work for weeks with this competition. It's not a 3-4 day event like in the past. It is many, many weeks of dedicated effort and new experiences. So thank you very much for that. I also would like to, coming to the end, just like to thank our online conference platform hosts. We've been supported very well by EPH Productions these last 3 days. Without them, we cannot do this. You will not believe how much I learned about the technicalities of hosting an event like this, and I can only thank Rudy van der Vyver and Brad Montgomery specifically, who we actually worked with and been in contact with for 24 hours a day for the last week or more. And we've become friends almost by now, and thank you very much for the support that you've given to the success of this conference. And then lastly, Happy, I have not talked about you yet, Dr. Happy Sithole as the Nikki Center Manager. Happy, of course, you are the person that keeps Nikki's together, and without your supports and input, we will not be able to have any of these kinds of events. So just a special word of thanks to what you are doing for Nikki's and also for the support and success of this conference. So with that, I thank you all for staying on the line, even for this vote of thanks. And I'm going to hand back to you, Happy, for maybe a final word. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Werner. I think with my role and the powers I've been given to chair this session, I would like to say finally to all of you, I can only be human. If I virtually stepped on your toes, please forgive me. And I hope that you have enjoyed this session and you have enjoyed the conference. Please all, I can't say drive well home, you are already home. Please celebrate the end of this conference and looking forward to see you next year. All good evening for those in South Africa, for Birali in the US, and Addison Snell I saw, and Dan, they are still here. Good morning. I think you are having your breakfast there. So all of you enjoy and stay safe, everybody. Goodbye. Rudy, is everyone gone?
We still have a few participants, Happy. They are slowly logging out. We'll just give them a few more minutes.
Yeah, we can't just dish them out. We are hosts.